So Ed is a filmmaker and comic comedian as well, who is, well, you've undertaken this really amazing task of, you've filmed yourself pretty much for a very long time, haven't you? Well, like your whole life so far, isn't it?
Well, it was 24/7 for 20 years.
Jeez.
Wow.
And so I've been able to make a film out of it, 50% funny, 50% serious exploration of why do comedians want to sacrifice their life to make strangers laugh.
24/7 for 20 years.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Wow. So is that when it was on like tapes? Oh, you got old tapes?
I documented from analog to digital, yeah.
Really?
Without meaning to, you know. We didn't know it would ever go digital.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
So you went through
Okay.
that whole little process. So that's insane. That's brilliant. So I know you've probably been asked this question before, but I'm curious as to how you kind of go. Do you think in your mind now you'll go, I think that'll stay in or that'll go out, like sort of editing itself in your head?
Yeah,
as you go,
actually,
or?
I haven't been asked that before.
Oh, really?
Actually, most people focus on the practicalities of like, how do you film this? How do you film that? You know? But no, I did when things happen, because it's so hard to go through like 20 years of footage in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Impossible. I did find myself doing that, editing in my head. That's right.
Oh, okay, so do you sort of approach anything and go like, well, maybe I think there'll be something interesting here, and sometimes I guess you can also not provoke, but kind of instigate something that could.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you were to say, is it all real? The answer is yes, it's all real. It's not. It's not a mockumentary. It is all real. But I suppose you're right in that. Would certain incidents have happened? Would I have found myself in certain situations, or would I have pushed them through if I wasn't filming? Probably not. Yeah. To answer your first question, when it was 3 o'clock in the morning and I was punched in the face by a Mexican gun maniac, a second afterwards, I thought that's going in. That's going in.
I think I'm going to keep this one. That's incredible.
Well, it's just like the memories you keep, isn't it? It's like all the stuff that's very real you remember anyway.
Yeah.
So with all that stuff, do you reckon there's stuff you've forgotten that is interesting?
I'm in a really weird position where you can remember things in life. You know, if I said to you, pick out 5 really important things in your life. I done that. I am in the weird position of able to watch it back, and sometimes they're not how you think at all. It's different to how you remember it, which is interesting.
Does that affect the way you behave in future? Like,
yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, the project itself and just my general personality tends to alienate quite a lot of people. I'm quite good at that. It's like one of my talents. And then, but I've watched things back, like falling out with friends, and I've been able to realise actually it was me that caused this, that, and the other, and so it saved friendships. But I mean, really, it's only breaking even because it's the reason for why it went funny in the first place. But I'll tell you what else as well. When I had things crazy happen to me, the editing in my head, I'd say, yeah, this is going to make it in. But what I actually found when I was editing it is that the little moments in life, like when I'm sort of interacting with my parents and having sort of genuine moments, those are the bits that sort of give it pathos. Yeah. So originally, 15 years ago, I'd sort of describe it as like you've been framed with a narrative, and now there's a little bit of philosophy in there as well, if I can be so arrogant / deluded.
But then everyone around you must be affected by. Obviously, they changed their behaviour as well, right?
Yeah, they did. Well, what happened was the process was is similar to the process of going through death, in the way that they well, first of all, they're in denial that I was doing this, then they sort of begrudgingly sort of accepted it, and then they genuinely accepted it, and now they've embraced it and they actively help. They
don't play up to the cameras then?
No, well, they did in the transition period. There probably was a time where they did play up to the cameras, but now 20 years gone,
you just get used to it.
They are the most relaxed subjects of a documentary ever. Wow. So, you take the comedy and everything else out of it. As a human interest piece, there's that in there as well.
This is what they should send into space.
I think, this is one of those things.
That's actually to explain what humans are like.
It's not for lack of trying.
As I think, as well, you were talking about the narrative thing as well, and so when you started, I imagine you were thinking, okay, well, like you'd said before about it kind of being, okay, well, we'll have there wasn't so much of the pathos there because of actively how people were reacting around the camera. That would have been different. So do you think that came as the process was happening? You thought, oh, hang on a second, maybe there is a story here, we can wind that in, or was there always a kind of arc when you started it? No, originally it's changed from what it originally was. 20 years ago when I was 10 or whatever, I didn't sit down and go, I'm going to make a film in 20 years for the Camden Fringe. No, of course. But what I did want to do is, my family's quite funny, right? And I've always been obsessed with comedy. But what I find funny
in life isn't jokes.
Yeah.
It's real life situations. You can't make it up, can you?
Yes.
Someone posting a battered sausage through my granddad's letterbox. You know, not a euphemism.
Yeah,
all right?
That's a story I want to hear about, but that's hilarious. Yeah.
But the thing is, the story isn't as funny as seeing his face.
Right. Yeah.
And so I thought, when I was telling my friends and they were laughing and all that, I thought there's nothing like actually being there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to film everything and make a real life sitcom with my family as the cast.
Right.
That's what I started doing.
Yeah.
Things happened that were really funny. I turned the camera off sometimes in the beginning and I missed things. My dad was nearly killed by a firework. It was such a shame I didn't film that. And so, like, I thought, you know, it became easier, as crazy as it sounds, to just never turn the camera off. So it turned into this. And it was only a couple of years ago that I thought I can make this film about what it's like to follow your dreams in comedy. That came much later.
Yeah.
Right.
That sounds to me like the least interesting part of the whole thing. The what it's like to do comedy. Like, everything else sounds absolutely fascinating.
Well, I think the personal cost of having an artistic ambition and what you go through.
Oh, I see. That
is sort of like, it's like, just to give an example, you know, people see a gig. I did a gig that I was really pleased about. It was my first paid gig, right, and everyone was seeing me laughing and joking on stage and all of that, and everyone else, like my friends, thought, "Oh, what a great night for him!" But I was nearly bankrupt because of what I'd already put into it. So I think, like, you know, this, what we see laughing and joking, it's not what people think it is with comedy. As I was editing it, I thought, even though this is going to translate to the general public, nobody will understand it quite like comedians, because we know what we all go through to make strangers laugh. I mean, it's crackers, isn't it, sometimes?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I always call it the drop after when you finish and you go off stage. And sometimes if you're working at a night that you help out at and you help pack up, it's sort of, you see the room that's full and then you help pack out and it's completely empty and you're like, well, 10 minutes ago this room was full of people and they were all laughing, and now it's now just a function room in a pub.
I know.
And it's really, that drop is so
depressing.
Yeah, you're just like,
it's
how
depressing.
you're trying to find that balance to kind of get to flip that back so it's not as hard for you.
I mean, we voluntarily went into that.
That's
comedy
true. Well,
club,
that's the thing, isn't it?
So I mean, I do exactly the same. I'm all depressed in a hotel room or whatever. It's sort of the equivalent of a heroin addict going, "Oh, for God's sake, I'm not high at the moment."
Exactly. It's like, come on, we're gonna get my next hit. This is absolutely.
So I just thought, there's something about the human condition. There's enough of us obsessed with doing it. I thought someone has to put a commentary on this. And that's what this is, hopefully.
And I think the balance as well with the family life is quite a nice touch too. And like you said,
it's fascinating.
And the fact that your family, like you said, your family is very funny. It's like that adds something to it.
Yeah, they're funnier than me. I mean, my sister's getting... I'm not saying, like, I'm really funny, but I just... Obviously, the intention when you go on to do stand-up is... I'm obviously planning to be funny.
Absolutely.
But I wrote a speech for my sister's wedding. It's coming up this Saturday. And my dad has written a speech, and I was furious. He said, "Can I have your advice with it?" And it was so funny, so much better than mine. There's no way I can top it. No way. No way.
They're just naturally, they've got all that.
So that's good. And they support the dream as well. So it's, it became the main thing, like you say, one of the most interesting bits.
It's interesting that I don't think comedians tend to be the funniest people in their group of friends or family anyway.
No, I've heard that quite a lot. To my face,
it's something else driving it, isn't it? Which is
I think it's something. I mean, what's the time? About 20 past 10. If I can get really depressing, I think it's something really dark driving it, in the way that you're trying to fill a void. I'm not going to make eye contact with any of you.
No.
I'm not making. It's not personal to you too. I'm saying comedians in general.
It's mainly Jay that's filling a void, but he can't make eye contact with her. She's
I'll tell you
behind
what
him.
would be the best thing to say. That's what I found out about myself.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a depressing thing. I mean, I've read about narcissism and things like that. About how outwardly they will appear one way, and it's sort of to put a mask on to cover up an insecurity. And it was a depressing, really bad day. Really, really dark. Actually, when I thought that was what I was going through, I ended up not being diagnosed with it, because I wanted to. I read about it. There's somebody on the internet that writes about narcissism. I sent in the film, and he really liked it. But he he is a diagnosed psychopath, so it's not my best review. But when I went to the psychiatrist and said, look at what I'm doing, look at this, because I was able to sort of introspect and go, this is crackers, before anyone else, before the reviewers.
Right.
And I said, is this like narcissism and all of that? And I was really worried about it. And they said no, but the psychiatrist did say he thinks that it's a good idea. That went straight on the poster.
Oh, nice.
Well, narcissism is where you have to want other people to see you as you see yourself, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, but you seem to have quite a lot of self-awareness.
I do, yeah. That's what the diagnosed psychopath said to me.
Right.
He said that there's certain things in my behaviour that rule it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd worried over the top, but there's certainly an element in there that's sort of unhealthy. I mean, it is, I think we can all agree that filming life for 20 years, 24/7, unhealthy is a good word,
we glossed over that, didn't we?
Yeah. That's the most polite word, isn't it?
We do seem to have brushed completely over that. But it's also very fascinating, like you said. It's like that journey of everyone learn to kind of relax behind it and embrace it, and then also how you've changed in that journey too. I think is quite this is quite fascinating. There's something, I think, as crackers as it is, I think there's also something there that you've learned about yourself, and you've that transition, and there's a journey for you too, which I think is quite fascinating.
That's genuinely the nicest way to think of it, I think.
It's
yeah.
There you go. It's should we play a little track?
I thought you were going to have a little cry.
Well, really?